Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back, FamBam. How you guys all doing today? I hope you guys are having an amazing day, whatever. So, first off, if you guys don't have flavor, then you guys better shut off this channel and go to the next, because I can't help you with that. Anyways, if you guys are want to listen to chit chat, if you guys want to see some role play, if you guys want to see reborn babies go to work, if you guys want to see babies cry because they miss their sister, just hit that bell, and so you'll be notified every time I make a video, because you will never have a dull moment here. Share my videos with your dolly friends so we can help my channel grow, and also maybe someone will like my flavor here. Maybe I'm not your cup of tea and you'll move on. But let's get into the video. Okay guys, I made this video speaking about my church and how some people viewed me in the church, and not to send them any pictures of my dolls because I needed help. I needed to be prayed over so I can, put these dolls away. And because I was idolizing them, they said, and no graven image idol, you're doing unto God. And I'm like, I don't see them like that, though. God's more important to me in my life than that. And also, trigger warning, guys. If you cannot listen to trauma or videos like this about SA and the R stuff, I will catch you guys on the next video. Just go ahead and skip this video if it's too hard to listen to. I will be speaking about that too, because this was the reason I even got dolls and started experiencing with these dolls, is because my childhood trauma affected me and my husband being able to have any more kids and stuff like that. And while we try to adopt the teen, I was having some PTSD, panic attacks during that, because it brought back childhood trauma that I was going through. And I also explained in the video that I almost got my uncle twice. He didn't succeed, so he sexually assaulted me. And then I told my parents, and they said I provoked him, and my aunt, my mother and my aunt said I provoked him to do what he did to me. And so that really carried a heavy burden on me. I hug guys at a distance like this because I don't ever want to provoke a man and put my breast on them. Also, I went to go stay with my aunt and uncle, my other one, and she let me date a 21-year-old when I was only 15 years old. And so with that being said, also guys, I was with my ex-husband, and my ex-husband's friend that came over gave me a roofie. So these dolls have been very therapeutic to me. They're very therapy dolls that have helped me when I went out and I felt safe with them. I've worked on my mental health since I've had these dolls, and even a little bit before, and now it has helped me overcome that. I tried to smoke weed, but marijuana, and that wasn't helping me. That just made me more paranoid. So these dolls really have helped me tremendously in my journey of healing as well. So yeah, I just wanted to speak on this, and also because I wanted to speak on the thing that my church did to me as well, like Reborn Dad. She was like, I'm going to pray for you. Don't send me any more pictures of your dolls. And I'm sure a lot of people see me because I have these dolls and I have a YouTube channel, and I like them and I collect them and they help. And at the end of the day, I know they're dolls. I don't think or imagine that they're real. There's other people that do. I have a family member that said she's always had a daughter and it was my niece, and stuff like that. That's a little bit more off the rocker, right? Because you're literally telling and you're imagining that you have this child that you never had and it's out in the world somewhere, or the people that try to have killed mothers so they can steal their daughters. And there's videos and there's crime stories about it, so I just wanted to come out here and share my story with you guys and let you know that my childhood was trauma. It was a lot of chaos. I couldn't go out anywhere by myself until I started working on it and taking my dolls out, because it felt like safer. It soothed me, it calmed me, and that's what these dolls are for. They're therapeutic. They really help, and they have helped me to overcome my mental health and everything. So with that, guys, being said, you guys will be able to hear my story on here, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So let's get on with the video. Well, I have a topic that I wanted to talk about. It was inspired by Odie from Reborn Dad. He came out with a video talking about his church, asking him to step down, and that these dolls are like idols, and he's putting them before God and all this stuff they were telling him, and they told him more. So if you guys haven't checked out his video, check out his video, Reborn Dad, right here. Let him know that Twin Mom sent you. Well, anyways, I'm going to talk about the same topic as well, because when I came across a person in, when I came across, when I came across, I can't even talk. When I came across, hold on, let me just try to get her situated. When I came across some girl from church, she told me some stuff too, and she stopped talking to me. She told me that not to send her pictures of my dolls, that I needed to pray, that I guess she was upset because I told her what I did and why she crocheted a blanket for me and the little hairband. And so she told me just to stop sending her pictures and talking about my dolls to her. And I was like offended, because I'm like, well, these I know are dolls. I don't think in my mind or have an imagination to think that these dolls are real. They're dolls at the end of the day. You know, we do just do this for our hobby. We do this because we want to help other people, and because it's a hobby as well. And you're a collector. Why I started collecting is because I didn't get to have any more kids with my husband that I am with now, because my childhood trauma affected my marriage. And also, you guys can click on that video and watch it to understand why and what happened. And also because we try to adopt, and then people say, well, why didn't you adopt? We tried to adopt a teen, and that's where it affected my marriage. And so my husband just thought it was best not to have any, because he was scared. And then I decided not to, so I got a hysterectomy. We don't have kids, and I know at the end of the day we don't have any, and that's great. I'm already healed, I'm over it, and that's it. So yeah, so we tried to adopt, we couldn't. So I ended up getting into Reborn dolls because of that reason. Everybody has their own reasons. People do it because it's a hobby. Some people just do it because they want to. Some people have trauma. Some people do it because they they've lost a child. If you read about it, a lot of counselors tell people that lose a child to get these dolls. So these are very therapeutic dolls. They're therapy dolls. And for me as well, they've been a therapy to me. My dolls have helped me with my anxiety and my mental health and my panic attacks. And so they do help. And so when that girl was telling me not to send her any more pictures, when she found out why I had her crochet my blanket and the headband, I was really hurt, because at the end of the day, people think, and there's other people too that were like, they're idols. You're putting them before God. You can't any graven image, you know, that scripture in the Bible, and you're putting them before God, and you know, it's an idol, and you are putting them before God and all this and this and that. And sometimes my husband would say that too, and I would just not listen, because at the end of the day, you guys don't know what these dolls have done for me. Now I'm past that hump, you know, but when I had these dolls, I would take them with me. Oh, anyways, before I get to that, I had a problem and I struggled with not being able to leave my house from the trauma, and what that at age 11, my uncle tried to um, 2 times. He didn't succeed, so he ended up, and so I couldn't go anywhere by myself, not to the store, not anywhere, because I would start to freak out when a guy was looking at me or a man was looking at me and staring at me and doing weird stuff like my uncle used to do. And so I would get panic attacks and anxiety, and I didn't even sometimes remember where my car was, and I was struggling to hurry up and get in my car to leave, you know? And I would have these panic attacks that would just make your mind just really go to panic mode, you know? And so my husband had to go with me everywhere, to the store, shopping, everywhere. Like, I could not leave my house by myself. And this was back when we lived in Albuquerque. And so back in 2020, when I finally purchased my doll, you know, I still couldn't do it. It was like, it was so bad that it affected my mental. It affected me so bad that I just couldn't do it. And I just thought that I couldn't do it. I couldn't work on my mental health. And so finally I got the Reborn dolls in 2020. And I started, you know, role playing with them. And I had a channel, J Girl Beauty. And a lot of people liked seeing the dolls and stuff, and so I got it, and it was like a thing that I grieved, because it was like something I really wanted to do. I wanted to untie my tubes at the time and have another child. I had my first child at 15 years old, so I didn't have much time with my child. I had to go to school, I had to work, so I didn't have all that luxury to be able to stay with my child and, you know, give my child all my time, because I was busy, you know. I did the best that I could. And then as a child, our relationship was not that great as a child, because I was trying to hide and not let my child see the abuse that I went through mental abuse, physical abuse, through my ex-husband. And also me at the time, I was very abusive to my ex-husband. And so it was chaos. So I would send my child with his father at the time, because I didn't want him to be around all the chaos. And so, you know, when I had my sons, my identical twin boys, they saw it, but not as much, because, well, they saw a lot, but sometimes they would be with their grandma or grandpa when we would fight or something, or they would be asleep. But my ex-husband used to take them from me every time that we would fight. And then, you know, you don't have any paperwork, so he would keep them while we were separated, and I would have to go to my parents' house or wherever I was staying. So, and I wouldn't see him for months because he would keep them from me. So there's a lot of struggles that I had. So I really wanted a baby. And so when we decided, my husband now decided that he didn't want to go through with it. Well, later on, he was like, yeah, you should untie your tubes, and if it will make you happy, we can have a baby. And I was like, I didn't want to, I kind of thought about it long and hard, and I really wanted one. I wanted more children. My husband only has one son. He's an only child, and my husband's an only child. And so, well, from my husband. And so, I really wanted a child with him. And so he was like, well, if that'll make you happy, you know, you can do it. And I thought about it, and I thought about it long and hard. And I said, you know, what if I do it? Because he's saying that let's do it. And if it'll make you happy, go ahead and have the baby. Have a baby, I mean. Untie your tubes and we can have a baby. So I was going to do it. And then I just thought long and hard. And I said, what if I do it and he's not happy? What if he's not happy with the decision he's made and I make? And, you know, so I didn't go through with it because I considered his feelings as well. So I just left it at that. And so later on, my health got bad, where I gained some weight and my sugar was really bad. I almost died in the hospital from it. And so I was like, no, I just should get my hysterectomy because I had bad periods and bad cramps and whatever. So I just decided that I was going to go through with it. I would just have a hysterectomy. So these babies, these dolls, I call them babies, help me heal. Like, it was a grieving process for me, like, to put my motherhood, my childbearing behind me, because I wanted more. I didn't even want to tie my tubes after I had my twins. I wanted to have more kids. I wanted to have as much as God wanted me to have, so I wanted to have, but my ex-husband used to always say we were going to grow old together and that's all we needed is 3, and he was like, you don't need one, because if you ever be with someone, you're never going to be with someone because we're going to grow old together. Well, that didn't happen. So to be with someone else, and not being able to have one, it just hurt, and it hurt deep, So these babies helped me heal. And I also took edibles. I tried to take edibles to help with my panic attacks and my anxiety, which is, weed and whatever it's called now. What is it called? Marijuana. And that didn't help. I just didn't like it. It made me feel awful. Like I wasn't in control of my life or my world. And so it would get me even more bad, more worse than what I was. So these dolls have really helped me. And so back to that topic. So I started getting them and having them with me. And there was a time where I was supposed to come to, my husband was like, do you ever think that, I don't want to go with you to the store. I don't want to go with you everywhere you go. And I was like, oh, wow, yeah. But I was like, but I need you to. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I don't always want to go with you. And so once he said that to me, I'm like, yeah, poor thing, I'm sure he doesn't want to be everywhere I went. He wasn't working at the time, so he was able to go with me everywhere, And so then I was like, I need to work on my mental health. I don't know if I mentioned this in the video. I think I was going to say it, and then I didn't. And then I think I did say it, but I just want to make it clear that these dolls really helped me with my mental health and my anxiety and my panic attacks. I started taking them out in Reborn outings, and they really made me feel safe, and like I was okay to go out by myself as well. So that's what I wanted to let you guys and explain as well. And I meant to say fixated. I didn't fixate on when my uncle used to look at me really weird, and I was able to go out there and just talk to myself and tell myself I'll be okay. So I didn't take anything. Like I said, I tried weed. That didn't help me. So I ended up coming to Tennessee before we moved here from Albuquerque, and I came in the plane by myself. I was so scared, and my husband's all, you got this. Everybody's like, you got this. And I'm like, no, I've never been on a plane by myself. Only when I was pregnant with my twin boys and they had to fly me to Denver, Colorado, so I can, if I went into premature labor, I can have the babies there with incubators. So I was like so scared, So I told my husband, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go anymore. I'm just going to stay home. And it was for like a picnic. Yeah, a picnic, I think, out here. Or no, we were all getting together or something like that. I don't even know. I don't remember. Or the picnic. So I ended up flying. And so then I decided, no, I'm going to come. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I got this. I got to work on me, and I got to work on my mental health so I can be okay. So I can be able to go and do things on my own. And so I left on the plane. Finally decided I left on the plane. I got to Tennessee. They picked me up, the church and stuff. And so they got me here to Tennessee. And I was supposed to stay with someone in the motel, her and her son, and stay there until she left, and then I would leave. And so I was so terrified. And so that was going to happen while she was sick, and she didn't want to get sick because she had leukemia. And so they decided for me to stay in my own room in the hotel. And guess what, guys? I've never done this in my life. I've been terrified to do anything by myself. Well, anyways, I ended up getting a room by myself, and I stayed a whole week in Tennessee. And I was able to finally heal and get over that big hump, that anxiety, that that panic attack, you know, and I just kept talking to myself and telling myself that I was going to be okay. And Lord, please help me. And if anything happens, it's God's will. If I were to not make it back home, it's all God's will. It's all in your hands, Lord. God's will is all. It's not my will, it's yours. And so I stayed here a whole week. And when I went back to Albuquerque, I went to the store by myself. I came back and I was fine. I didn't fixate if someone was looking at me, if a man was looking at me, or someone was looking at me weird, or that stare, or that weird thing that my uncle used to do. I didn't fix on it. I just kept doing what I got to do, and that was it. And I did it. I finally did it. And when I started taking the dolls with me, I felt safer. I felt calm. My anxiety was gone, little by little, and my panic attacks were gone. And my husband was like freaking out, like, what? You went by yourself? Yeah. And so I started doing them slowly, but slowly and surely. I was scared of elevators, to be in an elevator by myself, you know, especially if a guy got there or something, or, you know, you never know. Some men are weird, not all. And something can happen, or someone was going to get me or kidnap me or something like that, you know? And so I just started going little by little. And if I went to a doctor's office or a doctor visit, I would have my husband go with me, because in case there was an elevator, because I'm terrified of the elevators, right? So when we finally moved and stuff, but I've never been at a restaurant or anywhere to eat all by myself. Well, now in Tennessee, I'll go by myself to a restaurant. I'll go eat by myself and everything. And my husband's all, what? You? No, you didn't do that. Yes, me. And he's just like so surprised because I finally did it. And I'll go to the store by myself. I go everywhere by myself now. My husband doesn't have to go with me. But my husband couldn't go even if I wanted him to, because he works now. So yeah, these dolls really have helped. I know at the end of the day, it's a doll. I'm not putting them before God either. I'm not doing any of that, what people try to tell me. There's other people that tell me that I'm doing that, and because I collect all these dolls, that they're idols and all this and that, but they're not. These are a piece of art. These are therapy dolls. These are for people for different reasons. People get them because they've lost a son, and they get them because they want to have a picture of them. So, you know, when they passed away, they can always have a doll that reminds them of their son. And so these are very therapeutic dolls, and these dolls have helped many people. They even help the people that have Alzheimer's, dementia, you know, and it just makes you feel, when you're just holding a doll, it just calms you. There's a dopamine, I believe, and I will leave this on the screen so you guys can all read. So don't judge because you see us holding a doll and don't start assuming that we don't love God or we have these dolls before God, because at the end of the day, they're not. At the end of the day, I know it's a doll and it goes there and it lays there, and, you know, I'm not always holding them 24/7. There is sometimes that, you know, I start to get a little bit of anxiety or whatever, and I'll just pick her up. Well, I'm off camera. I'll dress them. I will hold them. I will cuddle them. I'll feed them a bottle off camera. But I'm not doing it 24/7 in my day where I don't get nothing accomplished. No. Now that I started painting silicone, it just really soothes me. It just really helps my mental state in a form of, I love my artistry. I love to be able to learn something new. And it's awesome to see a baby come to life and for that other person to enjoy it for whatever reason, hobby, just a doll collector, whatever, you know. And these are very helpful dolls. These are made of silicone, so it's very realistic feels like a baby. The vinyls are more like doll feel to me, and the silicone are more like a real baby to me when I hold them. She's a little bit firmer in her body. Her her legs are soft, but her body is like hard, but like soft, well, firm, but like soft, but really firm as well. Little Dream was very, very soft. And little Harmony. So yeah, guys, don't judge us, you know. And that just like really hurt me, because once she found out that she crocheted this blanket for me, and this little blanket, and she said she was gonna pray for me, like it was a bad sin that I was doing, like I was murdering someone, you know. And I'm like, wow, you know, I'm not murdering, I'm not hurting anybody by collecting dolls, or, you know, having them as a hobby, or helping them have healed me. And now they have healed me. I don't need these dolls for that purpose no more, you know. But these are very therapeutic. I want to even start to learn how to make them out of clay and mold them and sculpt them. And I want to get my work out there, you know. So with that being said, also is because I'm on disability as well. I got diagnosed with a pituitary macrogenoma tumor in 1999. They found it, and I started getting, in 1999, they found it, and it was big as a golf ball. It could have made me blind if it sat on my chiasm. It's on your pituitary gland. And so it even grew bigger when I was pregnant with my twins. And thank God for that. I thank God for giving me my tumor. I thank God for shrinking my tumor as well without medication. I also thank God for helping me go through everything I went through in life, good and the bad. He says, thank him for the good and the bad, he says. And I'm glad that, you know, I finally was able to heal. And he put this tool or these things in our lives to be able to heal. And for whatever reason, I was able to heal and get over my fear of going places by myself. You know, that was a struggle for years. For years. And that's why I hate my uncle for doing what he did to me. Because he crippled my life, you know. We learn to live with it all our lives, you know. It never goes away. But we work on it to make ourselves better. Because it even affected me to even be able to have kids with my husband. So yeah. And you know, people say, well, why didn't you, instead of trying to adopt a teen, why didn't you try to adopt a baby? Me and my husband just didn't want to, and now I'm over it. I don't want any more kids. I don't want kids, you know. My kids are all older. I don't even want to be a grandma. Not to be rude or anything, but I don't. I don't want to be always, can you watch my baby? Can you watch the baby? Can you watch my kids? We got to go to school. Can you take them to school? I want to be able to live my life, you know. And I do now. I go and come as I please. I come and go as I freely want to. I do whatever I want, you know. At the end of the day, I role play with my dolls and I put them away. I don't have to change a real baby. My baby doesn't really cry. I don't have to feed the baby. I don't have to do all this and then take him out, because that's hard work, you know. If I become a grandma, then I become a grandma. If I don't, then that's fine. You know, there's a lot of people that want to be a grandma. Yeah, I used to hear all the time, well, when are you going to be a grandma? Whenever it comes, it comes. But anyways, with that being said, guys, try to read about things or understand, you know, instead of hurting and breaking down people for whatever reasons they have these dolls. Like, there's people that just collect dolls. There's people that just do it for fun, for a hobby. And the reason why I do it, like I've done it, is because of YouTube as well. I have been on disability, you know. I can't just go and work full time and go and have a job, you know. I have to, if I do work at all, period, I have to have a part-time job, you know. And you can't work for amount of hours and stuff, and it's really hard for me. So, and I haven't worked in 24 years, so it's really hard. And I just want to be able to make some money on YouTube, even if it's like $20, whatever, just to help me out, you know, to pay a little bit of bills or to pay a little bit of something, you know. So that's why I have these dolls, and I like to share my story of everything that happened to me. There's more to my story. I even want to start writing a book. I've been wanting to do that for years, and I need to just sit down and start writing my book. And about my crazy life, you know, I didn't ever think that I would have any more kids. I didn't ever think that I would even be able to see my first child grow up or anything. So yeah, with that being said, guys, just please be nice and know that we don't think of these dolls and put these dolls before God. I know I don't. And I don't think Reborn Dad does either. He has, I think he's partially blind, he said, and something else. And the dolls help him with that as well. And it's calming when he's holding the baby. This is just calming to us. It's like a reaction that we have had babies, and it helps. And there's some people that don't have kids and they, you know, have them. There's people that can't ever have kids and can't have kids, and they've tried and they can't. And so they get silicone babies or vinyl dolls, and they role play with that. And but at least they're not hurting anybody. There's people that have killed a person just to have their baby, to try to kidnap their baby. There's people that, one person in my family that will say that I have a niece out in the world, and she has a little child, and the child stayed with the father because she was doing drugs, and that's not even true, you know. And so that's crazy when you really can imagine that and you're lying to everybody saying you have a baby. That's crazy. I've never done that. I don't ever want to do that, and don't plan to, because for what? Why are you going to lie? Then you have to keep lying, and you have to keep lying. And when you ask someone and they say there's no baby, and you're not an aunt to a niece, and you never were, and you have to catch up with that lie, and you have to remember, and what other lie are you going to come up with? I don't have to do none of that. I have my dolls, and if no one likes it, and if they want to be ugly and awful and say these things and say, oh, it's because you never had any more kids, so, and you weren't never a good mom, so now you have your dolls, or whatever reason they say, because I wasn't a perfect mother, you know. I was able to be the best mom that I can be, as I knew how, you know. There was a lot of factors in my life, that mental abuse and physical abuse from your ex-husband, and being ugly, and you don't want to lose that person because, for whatever reason, because you think that it's supposed to be all this jelly and rainbows like your parents had, and you shouldn't get divorced and all this and that. But yes, if it's trauma and if it's all this, I wish I would have known that now, but I didn't have anybody. My dad kicked me out when I was 16 with a child. Like, who does that? I should have been able to have parents to help me, to help raise my child and be there for me, but no one was. I didn't know who to turn to. The only person that I had in my life was my grandma, my mom, my best friend that left in 2005. And after that, it was like my whole world shattered, and I had no one. She helped me raise my child when I was 15 until she passed away. She would come in at night when my child was sick and take over, and then bring her, and we would take turns. She was there for me when my mom wasn't. So yeah, I was the best mother that I can be, you know. Yes, did I fail? Did I screw up? Yes, I did. But I loved my kids no matter what. I tried to hide and tried to protect, but it wasn't the right way how to do it. I tried to get rid of my ex-husband plenty of times. I tried to kick him out, but he always had that thing that he was a felon, so he would call Section 8 on me and tell him that he was living with me, so they would have locked me up. And that was something he thrived on, you know. So with that being said, guys, just be nice. Don't just assume things. Don't think that these dolls are idols and we put them before God, because at the end of the day, I don't do that.
People that know me, I don't. It's something to do for fun, something to make some income here and there. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I will catch you guys on the next one. And never forget, Te Amo Muchisimo.